All right, so welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Um, so, so this is our first Carl Dial business meeting of the year, of the calendar year. And here's, hang on, yeah, here's the agenda. Can you see this slide, the agenda slide? Can you guys see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're just going to go over, the Zoom features, and then let me go back to that slide because and then go on to like some updates. Has anybody seen the results of the survey, the input survey that we conducted?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't looked at them yet.
Oh, that's okay. Well,
Sorry.
no problem. I just figured, some people like to take a look at things before the meeting, and some people actually just want to hear about them, and that's, okay. Then we're going to talk about like program ideas and the next meeting. Okay, so right now the important thing is the release. Since we do plan to put this Zoom session in our YouTube channel, we weren't clear if we needed to have this audio video release form. So, but I thought, just better safe than sorry. So yeah, so if you guys go to this link and basically print and fill it out, and send it to me on my Gmail by this by next Friday, from a week from today, then we'll be covered. That also is probably like the time where we're going to be putting it in the YouTube channel. And then I'll also send a notice to the listserv once the video is up on the channel. And then I'm just going to go over just these three things having to do with audio and video, raising the hand and the chat box. Just for, like, how many of you have done Zoom before?
I've used it before.
I have.
You have, okay, so pretty much the really important thing about Zoom is that, like, as we've heard, people could talk at once, right? So, and there's audio and video capability, and if you don't have audio, you can use the chat box in order to participate. So I'm just asking, like, if we want to, because there's going to be a portion about like us brainstorming about like some program ideas, that like specific things that would be a good time to either raise hand or just be mindful of each other so that we don't talk over each other. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. Now we were going to introduce people. These are the people who are the new executive board members for the interest group for DIAL for 2017. I'm continuing on as chair for 2017. Tamara, who's not with us, she's at a conference right now. She has been newly elected to be the co-chair for DIAL. So she's serving this 2017 year and the year of 2018. And Javier, who's with us, who's taking minutes for this meeting, it has been elected secretary. And then we have Jennifer. Don't know if Jennifer's with us today. So she's going to be heading the programs and coordinating that for us. So I'm just gonna pause here to see if like how you guys are doing. I can't see the chat at the moment. So any questions so far?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. All right. All right. So here's the link to the survey. Now for me, this is like a live link. I don't know if you guys can click on it and it'll be live for you as well. I'm not sure. But let me see. Because I'm just not doing very well with this trackpad. Okay. Yeah, no, it's just not gonna do it for me. Okay, anyway, so I'm gonna give you that link real soon. But anyways, the big highlights of the survey is that there were 33 responses. But we also had gotten the list of current members of the interest group, and we have 144 listed as of the beginning of February. So that's a really modest response rate. It's about like 22%. But you know, what we really wanted was to get a sense of, okay, what communication methods are that people wanted, what programming topics, and also what format. And we already had a hunch that that we're pretty distributed, since Dial has decided to merge, because before it was North and South, and now it's just one interest group that is supposed to represent the entire state, which often is very difficult for us to travel, right? So we figured that people would want to be able to participate remotely. And so that is the type of communication method that we thought was important. Same thing with formatting. And as for topics, we could talk a little bit about that later. All right. Now, in terms of our decisions, based on just that really modest survey, this is what we had thought, that, you know, in trying to be equitable and also mindful of people's commitments. So we thought that we'll do like 3 business meetings and alternating locations, so north, central, and southern. See, so we were thinking that there would be like a possibility of an in-person attendance component, but you know, of course, not pushing that as much in terms of commitment. We're much more interested in having participation from people. We also thought at this point that having one program a year is a good idea. And the most important thing is developing a framework of informal networking opportunities. We haven't thought this through yet, so we are hoping that members can pitch in and give ideas. And so at this point, you know, we could either have you guys just say it in this meeting, or you could just think about it and email us. Now, these networking opportunities, we're thinking that, you know, like kind of like what happened last year with Mario's leadership is just these meetups in like restaurants and bars. So just really low key, so that we kind of get to know each other as a professional community. And so that was the emphasis of doing a meetup. And going a little going back to the survey, so these are like the highlights that we're thinking about. These are pieces from the responses. As you notice, like we didn't require any responses to the questions, but most people really seem to get their dial-in information through the email listserv. So that seems to be the winner there, and you can see the numbers. The second is the Facebook group. And so that tells us that we need to do a better job in basically improving the community that's there and ensuring that it's vibrant and lively. And then the third is the website. At this point, it's really just informational and there's not really much of a give and take. It's like one way type of communication. And I don't know if we hadn't yet talked about plans to change this, and perhaps that's something else. Like if you guys have a desire for that to be much more of a discussion space, or does the Facebook group fulfill that and that's enough? I don't know. Now, in terms of like in-person meetings, the survey has told us that Fridays are the best days, followed by Saturday. And so this is how we had come to choosing the date and time that we did at this point. All right. Now, in terms of program ideas and program formats, the winner there is the half-day workshop. So we were thinking that we can work on that. And then, of course, like I'm a little surprised with this because like the somewhat distant second is the webinars, and because I was actually thinking that would be an inverse, that people would much rather see webinars rather than half-day workshops. But I was also thinking that perhaps that has more to do with the type of topics that people are interested in or would like to see more of, like diversity within library work, instruction, leadership, sharing ideas. Those seem to be the types of interactions or like topics that can best be delivered in a face-to-face workshop format, especially when what people are really thinking about and what they need is more like tips and maybe some exercises, which actually lend itself a lot better in a face-to-face half-day workshop format than a webinar. So far, any questions about this part?
Nope.
Nope.
Not about this, but it looks like some folks in the chat are talking about different groups and maybe alternating networking leaderships by region.
Ooh, okay. That sounds like a good idea. Okay, yeah, sorry, I can't see the chat at this moment.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh,
Yes.
We can totally hear you.
Okay, hi, this is Mario. I just want to say that since Eva doesn't have audio, that I think Eva created a Google group for librarians of color, but it's not exclusive to librarians of color, and it kind of revolves around LA. But it's kind of been sustained by like informal meetups, you know, at bars and stuff like that. Nothing too formal. So that's I guess a network that kind of emerged. So that's, you know, there's an email thread for that, and anybody can join the Google group, I guess. But I've always thought that, you know, since Dial now is all California, and then this just happened to be an LA-centric thing, you know, I would never be against like just emerging meetups or just hosting more meetups, you know, and as informal as possible. But even though LA or California or SoCal or NoCal, it is pretty spread out. I feel like one of the things that maybe we should just start by trying is just hosting more
That's true.
meetups.
Yes. That's a good point. Okay, so I just stopped sharing there so I could see the chat now. Okay, yes, that's true. It is a good point. That is something that we have been thinking about, and you know, how do we do this? So basically, like, our question right now is, okay, we kind of know what we ought to do, but because we also need people who are willing to host, since so that we can spread the labor a little bit. That's the idea that we wanted to also encourage. I'm also thinking that even though like Ava's group is really focused in LA, I'm wondering if like we can think about like I don't know, like one aspect of the website could probably be about like just basically a clearinghouse, like this information of like where meetups are happening. We can certainly do that on the Facebook group as well. So, because part of the issue is not so much just, it's not only just getting together, it's also disseminating the information so that people can participate and be part of that, of whatever networking or alliance formation that's happening, right? So the issues that we're facing are little, you know, there are many facets to it, and so I'm hoping that we can actually get down to specifics in terms of what we can do.
What if I can interrupt you, what if we create a calendar where we kind of strategize like a monthly meetup, and then we can parse them out, you know, like Friday nights, some Saturday mornings, and then we can spread them around convenient parts across California, right? So that they're not all in LA or all in San Diego, you know, or there's like a revolving kind of thing. And then we can create like Facebook events to see if people will actually show up. Because one concern that I have is like, if we do start hosting all these meetups, and then what if like only a few people show up to each one, right? Eventually they're just gonna die down. So that's one way where we can use social media just to gauge, you know, how many people are actually gonna make it to like a Friday night, I don't know, meetup or a Saturday brunch and stuff like that.
That's a good idea, Mario. I really like that. And now that, because like last, with the last group of officers, we created that like the Gmail account, right? Which comes with a calendar, a drive space, and YouTube, of course. So we could definitely like create that calendar and with very minimal cost and share it. Since, you know, there's like widgets and things like that basically the Google products support. So we could definitely do that. And
also in terms of social media and stuff like that, in the past we were thinking about having like a communications officer or somebody who kind of like coordinates the social media and the website, and then and when I was chair, you remember how we had Jayati as like the
Yeah.
informal website manager?
She still is.
She's still, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty much what she's doing is just the website, but you're right, like we haven't really expanded the role or even like formalized or said to an extent, said, okay, we do want someone to be handling communications, right? I'm just going to check in with Javier here. Javier, how are you doing with notes?
Doing good.
Okay, because
Yeah.
these are great ideas, and with Mario here, because of like some institutional memory, I'm realizing that I haven't remembered everything, and so yeah, so that would be a good thing because these were like discussions we've had previously, but we never really materialized them. So hopefully we can this time. Any other ideas or like having to do with either meetups, topics for either workshops or webinars that you'd like to see?
Can you all hear me?
Who's
Yes.
that? Is that
Kenny?
Kenny? You're a little, I don't know, like the audio quality is not very good.
Right. Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was thinking about the meetups, and I was thinking that would it be possible to do meetups during different conferences? I know there's one at USC in May, the Identity Agency and Change in Academic Libraries Conference.
Oh, I haven't even heard of that one. But that's actually a good idea. And I know like Mario was trying to do that with like just various conferences.
Yeah, we can organize something for that one too. I think it's sometime in May.
It's May 22nd and May 23rd.
Okay. All right. And to kind of like, since part of the things that we were thinking of doing is creating a framework for things like this, like if we can come up with either a checklist or a form or something where we can follow through, or at least like be able to communicate what we need to have happen. Like for instance, like, you know, like a meetup would require like a venue. Is there a payment that has to be made? That type of thing. But, you know, of course, you know, we're very strapped. We don't have a budget. So we have a very small one from Carl, which I think is just about like $300, right? So we have to be mindful in terms of like what we can do, and of course a lot of these will probably be, you know, buy your own beverage or, you know, things like that. Okay, no worries.
So if you want, for this conference, I can propose, since I think I know that area around USC, I can propose a few options, you know, around the campus that are like a $1 sign kind of deal. And yeah, we'll just make it clear that this is like, what did you say? Buy your own drink or?
Yeah, buy your own beverage.
Yeah.
UYOB. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to be the point person on that for that particular conference, Mario?
Sure. Yeah, I'll just take it on. It's
Okay. So that's something that yeah, like that's a good idea. So it's May. That's next month. And then we can advertise this, like you said, like, like using Facebook, like creating an event, creating like publicity for it through the list, all these things. So
yeah, I can do all of that. I mean, we already have, Carl already has a Twitter account, and there's a Facebook group, and then we can share it via the email lists of Carl. And then, the only thing is, like, do we want to do it Monday night or Tuesday night? Because it's the 22nd and the 23rd. It's a Monday and a Tuesday.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So, and then we can gauge how many people might actually
those
come.
of us who are coming from San Diego, it might be better to do it the first night.
Oh,
Say it
you're
again.
right. That people who are traveling and might be not Tuesday,
we would
they
go
might,
home.
Yeah, they might not want to stick around for Tuesday night.
Okay.
So that's a great point, right? So that would make Monday night a better day.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
All right, Monday night it is. And I'll email you and the board, Melissa, in case you guys want to look it over.
Oh, so what was the conference again, Kenny?
It's Identity, Agency, and Culture in Academic Libraries, hosted by USC.
Okay.
I can share the link to the conference page.
Would you? That would be great. Thank you. Okay, I'm just gonna look at my slides here for a minute. All right, because I think after this like brainstorming idea, the only thing I have left is just telling you guys that we're going to be having our next meeting. It's going to be at UC San Diego with Tamara, but I think we're going to do this hybrid thing again. Like there's an option to come in person, but I'm not sure what sorts of things are available at San Diego, but you probably have Zoom as well.
Yeah, we totally have Zoom.
Okay, so yeah, so it's probably going to be like that. Like it'll be half and half.
Yeah.
And so we haven't yet completely planned it, like in terms of like the day and whatnot, but it probably will be on a Friday, just like today, and it's gonna be in June. So we will be, once those details are hammered out, I'm pretty sure it'll be posted in the dial listserv. So meanwhile, I guess, thanks Kenny for that link. We will put together this meetup for this conference, and Mario will be our point person. Now, just going back to just talking about like what other ideas you guys have, because I know like Mario had mentioned to me, or I can't remember if it was to the list, like just like you had like a webinar idea that you wanted to talk about.
Yes. So and I'm glad that Kenny's here, because I was thinking about asking somebody from the committee, the ACRL committee, the diversity committee, if they would want to team up with me and talk about the diversity standards like for the DIAL community. And I wanted to bring this up because I would assume DIAL could offer this webinar for free, and it would allow Carl and Dial members to talk about the diversity standards that exist and what they're about and how they can be used and what's the status of that. So not that I want to put you on the spot, Kenny, but if not you, then somebody else, from that committee, I was going to ask them all. And this was actually inspired by the webinar that you hosted, Melissa. Well, not that you hosted, that you were in as part of the ALA Live.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when you were with Mario Asensio and,
yes.
and somebody else? So I liked that webinar, but I felt that, it was like too broad. It was just like diversity and inclusion. And at least this would be a little bit more focused with like the diversity standards. So at this point, the first step would be for me to actually ask somebody and have somebody say that, yeah, they would be willing to host this webinar with me. And I'm willing to have it more than just 2 people, right? I just thought that I first asked I had a panel presentation at ACRL, but all of my team members, they are too busy or they just don't have the time to think about a DIAL webinar right now. But I was on this vein, I thought maybe DIAL could be, could try to have like a program, a calendar of like monthly or maybe bi-monthly or maybe a webinar each season, something related to do with diversity or equity or social justice. Because, I assume we would make them free and I mean, sometimes ALA or ACL have free webinars, but I just think that it would be another venue in which DIAL can offer a type of resource.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I'm not aware of Carl having like a web conference capability. Does anybody know if they do or not?
I don't believe that they do. I think in the past when there have been webinars, we've relied on the technology that's provided at certain people's institutions. So sometimes folks who are at CSUs, I think they have a really great built-in system to help with that. But it does sort of fall upon, I think, the membership of the interest group and seeing what technology is available to them.
Got it. Okay. So something like, I think like for a webinar, probably like something like Zoom will help, or like it will be a good idea. Because the one, I know like for ALA, they use like older tech, Adobe Connect. So, and ACRL uses WebEx. So, yeah.
Well, the platform would be a secondary concern. Now, the first concern would be like, are people willing to host webinars and what kind of content are they willing to share and what kind of like workflow would we create to like accept, I don't know, maybe webinar proposals or.
Okay, so doing a CFP, you mean?
What's a CFP?
Call for proposals.
Oh. Maybe kind of, if we want to have a rotating series of webinars.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, because I'm also on Apala and I've been doing the publicity for the webinar series over there. But usually, like from that capacity that I do, it's really just getting the information. So I have no information in terms of like how they make decisions on what webinars they're going to put on and when, and like the tech checks that often have to happen before that. Just reading Ava's chat here. Webinars, training discussions are blogs. CFP sounds great.
I also like the idea about what I was saying about the political organizing tool. And then another idea, and one that I'm not committing to offer, but I think something that's sort of unique to California that I feel like I keep running into is trying to recruit a diverse workforce. And then we frequently sort of run into that affirmative action law that's part of California. So it might be interesting to hear from people who work at different types of institutions, specifically in California, with different strategies or success stories that they have, maybe getting into sort of what their recruitment process is.
Ooh, that's a great topic.
Because I feel like that stuff we don't hear at the national level because the laws seem to be different.
Yeah,
in different
that's
states.
right. You're right. It's very like state-based. That's a good point. Okay. What do you mean, Eva, by this could be a CFP we could do a call for? Like, you mean like have this be the specific topic and have people make proposals? Okay. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, I'm just thinking. 'Cause I don't, I'm just, my gears are just going, so pardon the silence.
Yeah, maybe it's a good of a topic. I'm sorry that maybe we could host, well, that I could host like a half-day workshop or, like a one-day conference, and then have people submit proposals based on that topic.
Yeah, I know, like definitely, like for like, because of just our financial, like what we are allotted from Carl is really low. That means that we'll have to.
You do charge a little fee, but I think you could set it up similar to what Skill does with SkillWorks or what Carl Dig does for their December program. Typically, if you can host it at a library, you don't have to pay for the space.
Yeah.
So then you're kind of just charging folks for food. And you could pull off something like that. We've gone as low as $25 at UCSD because we charge so much for parking. I think it's costing folks a little bit more to come down for the Skill program. But definitely, I think the tough part there, especially since we're serving the whole state, would be trying to find a good location. But as long as we could maybe offer some kind of, we'll either record it or try and stream it, which of course just makes the technology more hard. But yeah, maybe doing, I mean, I would say do it in LA because I know you get a ton of people there, but maybe trying to do it up north. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But it's something worth considering. I know like a big part of it too is we are a lot smaller than Carl Dig and Skill, comparatively speaking. And so, but at the same time, that doesn't really preclude us from doing something like this, like, a half-day in-person workshop and but yeah, so at this point it's really something that we can talk with the rest of our executive officers and then see how we can make it happen. Right?
It sounds like a plan.
All right. Any other ideas? Because that's another thing, like if we could just like pull some of the ideas that you all have and then we can kind of talk about them and see if we can, like form something.
I think Eva just put on the chat. I'd like to see a book/idea/service exchange.
To critical discussions to actions. Whoop, what was that? Well, I'm wondering what you mean in terms of the format, Ava.
Yeah, it's hard to explain.
Yes.
I mean, maybe she's thinking just a venue in which members can exchange ideas. But then to me, maybe I'm simplifying it, and I just think, oh, well, you could use a Facebook group for that.
Yeah, like a forum, which the Facebook, because it's a group, so that means discussions can happen.
Yeah.
Formalized to an outcome. Okay.
Maybe that could be something where people talk about best practices with something related to diversity in their libraries. But I also think, and this is sort of another idea on its own, something with how underrepresented librarians navigate. Is Carl all academic? It is all academic libraries, right? Yeah, so maybe how librarians navigate that process. And you could get early career folks, you could get folks maybe from specialized libraries or different parts. But I've been attending, I'm also going to that conference at USC, and I mean, we could possibly pull some ideas. There's people talking about lots of great stuff.
Yeah, that would be great, because I always come away with ideas from conferences. And since this isn't something that I'm planning on doing, it would be great, Gayatri, if you could send it along to us. And the zine idea. Like us creating a zine, you mean? Okay. Like on a particular topic. What do you mean local challenge? So the challenge
I
is...
don't want to interrupt the writing, but I've heard a lot of really cool things about people using specific language to get around the problems that we have with the bills in California. And so maybe like best practices with that, like use this word instead of this word, or, like you can, get around this by saying it in this way or something like that.
Are we talking about like in terms of hiring or more in terms of like in what setting, Leah?
Sorry, I was talking about the hiring. I was talking about like the fact that we have these barriers and that people have managed to get around them by using certain language and by kind of getting around things.
Okay. I feel like we need a little bit more informing this, mostly because this just happened recently in my library where there was a concern raised about what equivalency meant. because some people thought that meant like an alternate degree to an MLS, and then some people thought it meant like foreign equivalency to an MLS. So it makes things different, right? So like it's a difference between like an MS in chemistry versus maybe some sort of like master's in library and information science, but from another country. So that's why I'm thinking that maybe we need to do a little bit more talking about this and make that topic a little bit more clarified. But it's a great idea because I find it really relevant since that discussion that just happened like just yesterday in my library. So yeah.
Leah, are you thinking in terms of like the hiring processes in academic libraries, or more broad, just broadly in terms of LIS stuff?
I'm thinking more about hiring. Yeah, I'm thinking more about hiring and about being able to do recruitment and being able to say things in a more overt way without running up against laws.
I think that's a good. I think that is a great topic because, like, I'm not sure if this is like across the board, like a practice in all libraries, but the charge of like writing out like the job description, right? And that's actually right. So that's a big deal in a lot of ways. And
I think it goes into how if this is one of the things where we end up doing a call for proposals, like what you like, keep it broad as to the recruitment practice in academic libraries. So then you'll get things like, oh, hey, we require a diversity statement and this is what we asked for, or these are the list of diversity questions that we've incorporated into our process. Or it could be like even to the different places where you advertise. So I think different people might have approached it different ways, and you could get folks who are sharing best practices and hopefully success stories that they've had in their different environments.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that better, Gayatri.
Yes, thanks.
Only because we talk about this stuff every week, so I feel like I'm tuned in with you.
Yes, we do.
And incidentally, I recently saw this post from ACRL on Facebook, and on the chat box, I just shared that link. And apparently there's this document on guidelines for the screening and appointment of academic librarians, and they're asking for feedback with a deadline of May 10th. But I had never seen a document like this, but it seems like ACRL is trying to create, I guess, guidelines for like how to set up a screening committee or a search committee.
Interestingly, this actually was brought up in
and they do talk briefly about the diversity standards too. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay, because that's it kind of so in a broad way, like it's bridging those two things that you were talking about, Mario, right? Like it's still a good idea to talk about the standards perhaps independently from hiring, but it's also implicated in hiring. So there's just many different ways to cut into this.
Yeah, so this could be another big topic, either for a webinar or a little conference day or workshop, have a workshop. And then when Leah was talking about the terminology that we might use, I was thinking like, does ACRL or ALA have a glossary like related to diversity and equity terminology? Because I feel like that's what I was thinking when Leah was pitching her concept. Like, is there a designated like glossary of like, this is what we mean when we say, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, I think we run into the problems with the states is the thing.
You mean like
so like in different
legal
states,
definitions?
you can say different things. Yes, exactly.
Okay. I know like I don't think ALA has like a comprehensive glossary that is specific to equity, diversity, inclusion. I know they do for like stuff that's explaining like the processes and the things that they do, largely focused on the acronyms that that they employ. But in terms of like defining what we meant by diversity, equity, and inclusion, that was one of the things that the task force on equity, diversity, inclusion attempted to do, so that people knew what we meant when we use those particular words. Yeah, so that's, I'm not really sure though, but then I haven't looked. Kenny, do you know, I mean, since you're, sorry, like to put you on the spot, but since you're on the diversity committee in ACRL, I'm wondering if you had any insight?
Yeah, so the diversity standard has a list of definitions.
Mm-hmm.
And we are in the process of revising that list and possibly updating the definition. But there is one for diversity, culture, cultural competence. But what we've been thinking about as a committee was to add to that because but right now it's like in this internal or interpersonal level. But we were actually wanting to kind of talk about institutional ways that to like talk about power and privilege.
Mm-hmm.
So we were going to add some more new terms or recommend some new terms.
Okay, so this is the one that's attached to the cultural competency standards? Hello?
Sorry, so I just added the link
Okay.
to the standards. Oops, sorry. Let me. And so there's a section on definitions.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the list and definition that folks came up with in 2012.
Mm.
Oh yeah, but this is very particular to like the standards themselves and cultural competencies.
Yeah.
And you know, my idea of the glossary thing, that was just like, I was just thinking out loud based off of like what Leah was saying. Well, if we're still pitching ideas, I also thought about, have you guys seen this website from ALA, the Programming Librarian?
Mm-hmm.
When I saw this, I thought it would be cool if there was one for academic, like specifically for academic libraries, by academic libraries, in which we showcase, what academic librarians are doing in terms of like that diversity related outreach or programming. Because every time, like, in my library right now, when I try to help with something related to a cultural observance, I always wonder, like, I wonder what the other libraries have been doing. And sometimes it's difficult to find examples or.
Bye, Ava.
So this is just another idea, like maybe in the future, Dial could be the platform by which people can seek resources on diversity-related programming for academic libraries.
That's a possibility. We could, yeah. It's definitely something that we could just put up there on our wish board, right? Anything else?
So do we have action items?
At this point, it's the big action item is the meetup for May that Mario is going to be putting out and working on. And also, like, in conjunction with that, I really think that it's a great idea to make use of our Google Apps. And so, like, creating a calendar, that's something that we can definitely do, so that, like, we can see things and make plans in terms of like if there are meetups or business meetings and those types of things. And then another thing is actually creating some sort of like a framework, since I really like the idea that Mario pitched of like seeing how things are going, and if we're seeing the numbers that we want to see for a particular area, particular time, or a particular day. So we're going to work with him to come up with like something that makes this easy and we can operationalize it. And so we don't have to recreate things over and over again. In that way, we can lend support to individuals that do want to do the hosting, so that they're not alone in that. Yeah, process, pretty much. Yes.
Yeah, and I would totally be willing to help out with that.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea of a programming toolkit is very good. It's like a really great idea. Especially because the programming librarian is really more geared towards public libraries, and so not sure how we can do that though. But
do you have any goals for Dial in terms of like the summer or the fall or next spring?
I think right now the goals is really about like internal operations, like setting up calendars, setting up like regular more regular meetings or things like that, of that nature, and basically creating infrastructure so that we can support programs and what people want to do. So that's really the overall goal right now. But yeah.
What about the expectations that I think Carl has for every interest group to host like at least one program in the year?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think it would be difficult to to achieve that, like by the end of next spring?
I don't think so. Because the way that we're thinking about it right now is that the business meetings that we're doing are separate from that, from a program. So what we really want to do is do a program. And so the question right now is, well, do we do it as a webinar, or do we do it like a half-day workshop? You know, so that's actually where we're at. So these ideas of like topics are great because we do want to do something, but at the same time, we also need to do like establish communications with membership, like we're doing right now, and having that expectation within the interest group.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure yet how it's gonna fly with like the program idea, like yeah, because there's just a lot of questions right now, and Ava did say that that she did share the timeline, a timeline with Tamara. So yeah. Any other questions or comments?
Oh, in terms of action items, do we want to think about asking Jayati if she's willing to serve as a communications officer? Because the webmaster thing, I mean, she had that, right? But to what extent is she willing to extend her role beyond just editing the website?
That's a good question. I don't think any of us had that conversation with her.
And if she's not willing to expand beyond her current role, then do you think that maybe we should maybe recruit an informal position for someone who would be a communications officer or something like that? Or is one of you, like, are you all going to work on that as a whole?
I'm not sure, because at this point, it really does seem to me to be a lot more efficient to have that be someone's role, you know, working in tandem with the program coordinator. But again, you know, like you said, it could be a role within like having to do like for instance, just like since there's two of us, like co-chairs, right? So that could be a role of one of the two.
And I remember that Tamara was really excited about the social media. So maybe she might have like more ideas. But I'm just thinking in terms of like a workflow, right? Like, for example, once we formalize like the meetup for this USC program, what's the workflow? Do we first share it on an email, and do we then share it on the Facebook group? Do we then share it on the Twitter account? Are we going to activate the Instagram account? You know, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So those are really, so those are questions for us to think about. Not sure yet. So what sounds like to me is like Javier, Jennifer, Tamara, and I need to meet again and talk about these things. So that's what's going to happen. So Ava's asking, but just to answer your question, Ava, I'm not sure. Haven't really heard much from Jennifer, so bye, Juliana. Thank you for coming. Yeah. I can reach out to Jennifer, and is it okay if I give her your email address, Ava? Because I think that's another thing that we probably ought to do, which is like just part of our succession planning, and because that's another workflow as well, like the handing off of duties and things like that. Even though, because we kind of just made sure, just based on like reading the programming guidelines, the manual from Carl, and just taking a look at minutes, so we've largely just been taking it up on ourselves. Okay, so I'll at least send that email to Jennifer and make the offer, and I'll CC you, Ava, so that way you know that you know what I said, and then just leave it at just leave it up to you guys if you want to talk or do your own scheduling. Thank you, Ava. It's really, really nice of you. You do too. All right, so I actually think that, unless there's any more ideas that you guys want to pitch or any other topics that you want to talk about, you can certainly stick around some more. Okay, so Ava has a suggestion. Okay. So basically like members, you mean, or just people? I know, yeah, because ACRL does like a member spotlight.
Yeah, and the Log Diversity Committee does the same thing. It's like a member
Yes.
of the month.
Yes.
So,
yes, it does. Okay,
but
just for Dial.
Only for Dial, yeah.
That wouldn't be too hard to put up, I think.
No.
No, the big work would just be like a page and creating a page, and also just like what to highlight. Like ACRL has these questions. Actually, so does SLAUC. Some of the questions, they're not always just all about what they're doing. It's more, it's more of like the emphasis on getting to know you type of thing.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean, Ava, or just focus on professional work?
All of the above, she says.
Okay. All right.
And this is just an idea. What if, and I don't know to what extent you want to develop the YouTube channel for Dial, but what if instead of just writing up like a little sheet,
Mm-hmm.
or in addition to a little sheet, what if you have like a short video of like the spotlight or the member of Dial? I mean, assuming that people are comfortable, recording themselves. I know a lot of people are not, but.
Well, that's the thing. As somebody who just rotated off of the loud chair, it was hard to get people. So that may be challenging. I love the idea. I love it. I would love to have that, but I don't know that we'll have a lot of volunteers.
That's true. And also just the technical, like if you're talking about like interviewing people and getting them on camera, that could be very challenging.
Or they getting themselves on camera, like, hey, I've been doing this, I've been working on that, my favorite book is this, I'm currently reading that, and you record yourself for like a minute or two.
We could just have a Mario channel.
Oh my God.
It'd be so awesome.
You,
He would just say all the things that he's doing, and
you know what? Another thing that I've been thinking though, and this started with some people at ACRL. What if we were thinking about starting a podcast?
oh my god, yeah,
There's no video component to that, but that could be cool too. Like in the future, if like Dial had a podcast, or if ACRL had a podcast for diversity and social justice stuff.
yeah.
Because then you can listen to that stuff. I feel more accessibly. I don't know. I've been thinking more about podcasts as a more enjoyable way to enjoy media. Especially in California when we're driving a lot.
Yeah.
So that's another idea that I would be excited about.
Which I also love, but I'm afraid that it would be all Mario all the time.
Oh my god. No, I would make sure it's not.
I mean, it
all
would be great if it was all Mario all the time, but I don't know. I think it might be challenging to get people to do that. But it would be amazing.
Yeah.
It's just an idea. It's just an idea.
Yes, that's a great idea, and I don't know.
All right.
I'll be your first interviewee. How about that, Mario? You and me can do a podcast for one podcast.
Yeah, right.
I would totally do it, but then I just worry, because it's only because of the history of doing it with Lauk that it was so hard. It was like pulling teeth,
Yeah.
I would make calls. I would email people. I'd be like, all you have to do is answer these 2 questions or 5 questions. And it was hard. People were busy and felt shy, and
I so understand. Yeah, just trying to get people to come to this meeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. But I'm just going to check in with Javier here. Javier, are you doing okay with all the taking notes and stuff? I don't know if he's still there.
Well, maybe we can save the chat.
I think, I actually, since I'm recording, what happens is it saves the video and it saves the chat. The video can take a little bit of time because it has, it has to do some processing, but it will save it. So at least we'll have that. But since, a lot of what we're discussing is through the audio, that could be, a little bit challenging, but that's okay. Anyway, does anybody else have any other last minute things that they wanted to talk about and to pitch and because I'm thinking we're almost there, so that we can adjourn. So I don't want to video it. And the zine, yes. So what's next that's going to happen here is that the officers will talk, and any updates will probably go through in the June meeting. But before that, we're going to have to be in contact with Mario. Somebody will be doing that to help Mario out with the May event.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
No, I think there was a lot of ideas, good ideas, and a lot of brainstorming. So, and I guess our first thing is the May.
The May thing, and that one, it's we already our action items is that we have to create some sort of a flow for this, so that it's not it's not all just on Mario, and also the like basically using this event as like a template for other like subsequent meetups, right? So
Sure.
So thanks, Mario, for volunteering to do that. That'll really be great. And then we'll see about like all the other ideas like the zine, and if we can, I'm not really sure how we could get a podcast up and running, and video interviews, and even like the half day workshop. Like all these ideas really need some thinking through. So, and we'll do that. And also we'll probably make call outs to people, and so stay tuned for that.
All right.
So I guess we're done. And
Thank you.
And thank you for coming.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thanks. Bye.
Everybody have a great weekend.
Yeah, have
You
a good weekend,
too.
everyone. Thank you for showing up.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.